Okay, good day, people. Hope everyone is well. It's been a while since I've posted a video, and I'm going to respond here. Try to do a response video, and I think, going to try to do this to a person who I've not responded to before. I've only watched a couple of his videos, but the person here is MrRepzion, who has done a video called "The God Who Fucked You Over." And I want to say a couple things about that and see how to begin. First off, I think this person, he is fairly accurately representing, I think, a dominant mainstream form of Christian theology, of contemporary Western American religious practice. Bizarre cases of people praying for something like divine intervention, some notion of a creator God out there, some notion of a transcendent realm that's somehow separate from the material world, the supernatural, belief in life after death, all of the above. A creator God who's going to punish people and whatnot. And how people, I guess, take seriously their own desire to get near to this God, despite the fact that, by the very definition that they're acceding to, this is the same person who brings evil to the world. That's sort of how he's laying it out. And, these are sort of classic, I think, interesting contradictions that could be teased out of certain theological dogma. Now, they're not, they're sort of glibly, fast and loose addressed through there, but I think they're all well taken. Okay. My response would be something like this, One is that, here, a lot of these they need to be echoed, and people are born every day, and so new generations need to hear some of the concerns that people have while they're getting indoctrinated in other areas. But to that I would say, I would really want to be very cautious, and I would want to say not all religious people hold anything like those beliefs. See, I think there's a tendency for people for all of us, right, to imagine that we're somehow smarter than the people who came before us. And, there's just lots of evidence that, many people, like even around the time of the forefathers, but over the last, say, century or so, there were some people like Leibniz, a couple centuries ago, there were people who had incredibly sophisticated, very nuanced notions of what one could mean by God. And yeah, it's not anything like what you're suggesting, or the sort of stereotypical, contemporary mainstream Christian thought, but there are not only mystical sects of just about every faith, whether it's going to be, the Sufis, or you're going to look at the Jacob Boehme tradition of mystics, or you can look at the wisdom of the idiots, some of the stuff in Sufism, or you can look at, various esoteric schools in forms of Buddhism or Western Buddhism. Douglas Harding's done so much interesting stuff on the headless way and what it means to be headless. And I think that's what I would ask you, and maybe try to move the discussion. Okay, so in one sense, commend you here, let's have that discussion. But how about a video or two where people try to take on the larger question of what are the impetuses to religious thought? Like, from where comes the drive toward religious thought? What is its ground? On what seed bed does it grow and flourish? And I think if someone says it's all wholly false belief, it's power imposition, it's delusion, it's a fearful animal who needs... we can try to spell it all out that way, but there's another sense in which the mystics, I think some people who've had altered experiences, whether through yoga, meditation, through altered states of drug use, through peculiar kinds of brains that some people just have, they've come to question who they are, what they think reality is. And, I think their sense of religiosity isn't something like, there is a guy out in the sky who I relate to and pray to and all this kind of stuff. But it's more of a question of, what is self-relation? How does it emerge in nature? And how does humanity a kind of hotbed for forms of self-relation? Now, it's natural, it somehow emerged, but then what do we mean by nature? See, it reopens the question of, was consciousness an inevitable part of nature? It doesn't elevate, it doesn't mean that it's special, doesn't mean like, oh, somehow the universe would have been incomplete without consciousness. But when we, in our consciousness, imagine that the world would be complete even without imagination, we're really being imaginativists. The world as it actually is always already included consciousness, at least to the extent that anyone could know about it. Now, if we're going to say that there was a long time, billions and billions of years, without there being a consciousness, I think we can agree to that. There's lots of good evidence for that. But again, that's us here in the living saying that about that. We don't yet have anything like the adequate context or frame for asking, could consciousness have not been? See, I mean, we're always caught with the fact of it being. And then we start to ask, well, who are we really? Could it be that, like in my case, so my name is Corey. I mean, could it be that Corey and the world that I'm in, all my situations, all of my hopes, my dreams, my cares, my worries, the whole gambit, my loves and the things that I really dislike, all of that, is that me? Is there a larger me? What is imagination? What happens to a person in a sensory deprivation tank? So I think there are different ways of asking the question that try to shake people out of their everyday ego, their everyday sense of who they are, and it tries to ask a larger question like, who are you really? And when we say, who are you really, it's not this, oh, there's whoa, some sort of spooky dooky, wearer of many masks behind it all that is some superconscious being that's somehow doing a dance whereby each person is a kind of puppeteer being worn by the magical unified dancer. I think there are lots and lots of metaphors that somehow are akin to that. That, God is the very stage and drama that's wearing people as masks and costumes, and your suffering is God's suffering. The illusion is that the character on the stage suffers, whereas it's the actual actor who wears the character who's suffering. And the actual actor, again, some mystics would claim, is, and it's a question of, is it metaphorical? And the larger question would be, who is one? What is one's identity? Now, if we try to say, well, my identity is reducible to my genetic lineage or to who I say I am, who I want to define myself as, not only is it going to be contested, there's problems of your identity is partly owned by other people, that other people do get to lay a claim on who you are. Like if you think you're a very giving person and other people think you're selfish, do you get to claim that you're very giving? Or if you think you're very charitable and you think you're very gracious, but no one else thinks you are you? See, there's a sense in which part of our identities are caught with others, but then it starts to raise this larger question of, to what extent is my identity my own? To what extent is my identity actually something worldly? And who am I? And I think some spiritual folks, some religious folks, they don't believe in anything like a divine creator, don't believe that there was an ultimate justice. I think they're in a kind of fear and trembling over the fact that many people seem unable to wake up and shake off the illusory mask of ego and identification with ego, and are unable to see the common plight that there's really just one community, the community of the dying. We're all dying together. And what does it mean? I think those are some of the questions that some people want to ask. And do we have adequate rituals? Do we have adequate ways for understanding ourselves as we move through various life stages? You know, I think religion has served a social function rather than this. It's like a metaphysical belief system or a science or something like this. It has to do with socializing and helping people deal with loss, with death, with transitions from certain life stages. They want certain life stages to have more than a personal meaning. They want them to be sanctified by an authority that gives them something more than, quotes, an animal there just feeding itself. Now, we are animals who are just feeding ourselves, but language in some way makes it very, very complicated. That with language, we can never reduce where and when we are to the immediacy of the here and now in the way that, I guess, our animality, our sort of materiality locates us in a here now at all points. And yet the varying circumference and scope of language ambiguously places us depending upon how we say it. So even there, I use the here now, but I could say this is, Wednesday morning in Michigan, but I could equally, just to say this is, a video on the internet, I could say that this is after the year 2000, but before the year 2014. They're all different ways of placing ourselves, and this is where the question of who one really is really comes to a head, because it's just as true to say that I'm an animal is to say I am a host of biological and bacteriological. I'm like a bacteriological zoo. Most of the thing that I can see that I call me, my body, is really made up of DNA that isn't even human. I mean, the bulk of the DNA that looks like my body it's not even DNA that's, reproducing by sexual reproduction. What you're getting is just ongoing growth and divide from, you're largely bacteria. And then if you ask the question, who am I? I'm just as much a place and moment of the world as I am a thing on the planet. And what does it mean to say that one is a place and moment of the cosmos rather than I am this person with this address and this family? I think those are part of the issues. Okay, thanks.